Wall Street Journal and New York Times, if you haven't read their stories on the Iran military buildup, you need to read them both. They're both very well reported, very accurate to my reporting about where things stand. U.S. military moves into place for possible strikes in Iran. President Trump has given no indication that he's made a decision about how to proceed as diplomatic talks continue. That's the New York Times. Here's the Journal headline. 111, also good. U.S. gathers the most air power in the Mideast since the 2003 Iraq invasion. U.S. is ready to strike Iran, but President Trump hasn't decided to do so. It passed its prologue, the way President Trump is talking, the way the military buildup has occurred. It passed his prologue. He's going to attack. He just hasn't done this before and not attacked. Here's our friends at Polymarket, have a Polymarket on the question, will the U.S. strike Iran by... what is it? Put up the graphic and I'll be able to read it. 112 by February 28th. So that's 9 days from now. Will they strike? Polymarket bettors only 28%. Melissa, should I call my bookie and put money down here? Because 28% seems low based on my reporting and the mood music of all this.
I don't know. We talked about this 2 weeks ago on the show, and I think I was on with Larry, and Larry really thought that we were going to move in that weekend, and I said I didn't think we were going to. Talks were going to continue. I think we really just don't know. The thing that strikes me about this whole situation is these talks have gone on and on and on, and we continue to move our military, capacity around so that we can do various strikes. And I just, as a layperson reading the same coverage everyone else is, I'm like, doesn't this just give the other side time to harden the targets and prepare properly and
Yeah.
own countered strikes? And also, at the same time, the president's in Georgia today because he's very wary of the midterms and he wants to be out talking about the economy. The latest polling on this issue shows 70% of the American public is firmly against military invasion in Iran. And I don't see the White House doing anything to change that narrative and make the affirmative case for why we should be doing this. So I think that there are a lot of landmines here politically and otherwise. And I think they're going to keep talking a little bit longer and hope they get somewhere. But it just feels like we're going on and on and on with no endpoint.
When's the bombing start? Give us a time.
And I don't know that it's going to happen, but the indications are, and people are trying to drum out like it is going to happen in the media. You can see that pretty readily. I do feel like the president, who did a masterful job in the first administration navigating the Middle East when all the experts told him what he was doing was wrong, we had peace deals. I think this is kind of a similar situation. Depending on what he actually wants to do, we'll see. After the successful strike on the nuclear facilities, it is very clear before and after that many people on the right, and quite frankly in America, as Melissa just pointed out, do not want a prolonged situation in the region for sure. I'm not exactly positive here what the buildup is supposed to be. You mentioned a strike is imminent. Maybe it could be kind of a big hand cocked ready, and we can have the conversation, and then you better come through or we're going to do something with it. And so right now, I'm not exactly sure where it is. I will say, though, Iran is just a much more different, problematic actor on the global stage for a whole host of reasons. The president knows that. But at the same time, he doesn't like the death, the destruction, the images of bomb. He doesn't like that. But he also doesn't like having a deal fall through that he made in good faith with partners and players. And then all of a sudden, some of them aren't holding up their part of the bargain. It's clear Iran isn't. And so I think a lot of headlines showing military force could be imminent might be part of that pressure that Donald Trump is putting on them without having to bomb anybody or go into their country and take out a leader. Instead, he's saying, look, we're ready for this, and you better come to the table or there's going to be a problem. I don't know that Iran responds to anything other than, like everybody else in the region, force or might. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
All right. We'll be talking about this the rest of the week, I assure you, because I believe we're on the precipice, is my sense of things. They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America. And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and two-way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.